This is Kathy from GadgetStop321, and today I'm going to be taking a look at my Sailor Pro Gear Slim with a fine nib. I've got it inked up with Diamine Oxford Blue, and I'm going to be taking a look at how it performs in my Filofax Notebook. Now, I'm going to head straight to the writing sample because that was the deal with this Filofax notebook. The paper that comes in these notebooks, the refills, are not entirely fountain pen friendly. And by that I mean most fountain pens and ink combinations that I've tried tend to bleed and feather and go through the page. So I found a combination that is working pretty well. This Diamine Oxford Blue is a really saturated, nearly a blue-black. I think it could be classified as a blue-black. And so it tends to perform pretty well. And this Pro Gear Slim is a little on the dry side. Dry, not in a, ooh, yuck, it writes too dry, but in a well-tuned writing kind of dry. So let's see how this looks. I better put my glasses on. Okay. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more so you can see if the ink is spreading. Okay, and this is this paper is a little off-white. It's not a complete stark white, and look how quickly that dried. Let me do that again. Whenever I'm journaling, I like to see the ink dumping out on the page and just gradually drying. You can see it drying as you write across the page. This, you write and it's dry. So to me, this looks like a good setup for meeting notes. You don't have to worry about, smearing your notes. You can move pages because I know with me, with books that are devoted to meetings, I don't have so many meetings that I'm going to fill up an entire book. So I like to be able to move the notes around. Like right now, this notebook came with these little dividers, so when I take notes, I'll file them away in a certain category, and I can use this for something else, for brainstorming, for, ideas, whatever. And it's good for that because it's got different styles of paper, graph paper, plain, lined. I'm not crazy about the lines being this bold. They're a bold blue, and especially the graph, man, that really jumps out at you. So this, to me, this is a good workbook. I wouldn't want this for journaling per se. It's not pretty or beautiful, but it's just super practical. And I like that I have a pen that works well with it. Now I'm not saying you have to use a Pro Gear Slim or even a golden nib pen, but if you have a pen that writes drier, and you have one of these notebooks that you picked up and were disappointed, try different pen and ink combinations. Now, I've tried this pen before with other inks, and it feathered and didn't work well. And I will say I have smoothed this nib with micro mesh, so that makes a difference too. It's not picking up fibers from this paper. This, you can see a grain or a pattern almost. There's a texture, that's the word I'm looking for. This paper has a texture, but since I've gone over it with the micro mesh, it feels pretty good on this paper. Now let's look at the other side. And nothing. Looks good. Maybe there's a little dot there. Is that where I scribbled? No. But it's perfectly good enough to use both sides of the pages. Let me see over here. I've got a little section where I do writing samples. So I'll try, when I ink up a pen, I'll try different combinations over here. And let me show you. It's not, like from back here it doesn't look that bad, but when you zoom in, and I use pretty much all fine nib pens. So this is fine nib pens bleeding through different inks. So it's just enough that it would be kind of yuck, you know, to use on the use both sides of the page. Not your favorite setup, but this looked pretty good. I would be okay using both sides of the page. Now, I'm going to list some, let's see, honorable mentions. Of course, I would have to mention my Pilot 78G. This is the one that writes really dry. Let's see, I don't know. Let me see how it looks. This is the one, I've got another, yeah, this is the original 78G with a medium nib. And I've got another one on the way. I ordered a G Plus and it wrote quite a bit wetter than this. So I've got another original 78G on the way. I'm giving this one to my sister. So we'll see whether, yeah, that works good too. We'll see whether they all write dry like this, or if that was just this one's just a fluke. But the reason the Sailor gets first place, not because it's a gold nib or it's fancy, but because I got this blue notebook because it was on sale. It was $2 cheaper than all the other colors, or actually $2 cheaper than the black. I don't know about the other colors. I usually like black notebooks, but I wanted to save $2 and I got this one, and it's got white trim that really makes the elastic band stick out. I'm not super crazy about that. The spirals are white, and on all the color notebooks they're white, but on the black notebook everything was black. So the white pen just it makes it look good. And I'm not usually matchy with my stuff, but when something does match and look good, hey, I like it. So this is a combination that I think I'll find myself using quite a bit more. And I just like, I'll go over some of the features of this. You can flip the cover around. I like to do that. It's got repositionable folders. I like that. I can hide stuff, like used papers. I can hide them back behind this dividers, and I get that feeling of a brand new notebook. I like that unlike the disc-bound notebooks that operate under this same principle, that you can pull them out or put them back in, the spirals aren't huge. They don't get in your way as much when you're writing, and if they do get in your way, you can flip it around, and it's just a very practical setup. The only downside is the paper quality. And before I got into fountain pens, mechanical pencils were my deal, and I thought, well, this won't work with all my fountain pens. I'll just use it with mechanical pencils. But since I've started using fountain pens, mechanical pencils just tire my hand out too quickly. Oh, I've been spoiled by my fountain pens. And one other honorable mention. I kind of talked poorly about the Sailor LeCool in one of my previous videos. I compared it to my Pilot Prera, and this just wasn't as smooth as the Pilot Prera. But you know how it is. It all depends on the ink and the paper. I gave it a try on this paper, and I didn't have very high expectations, but let me zoom in on this one. I was pleasantly surprised. Very smooth. Let's see, that's LeCool. And let's zoom out and see what that looked like on the other side. It's wanting to come through just a little bit. Just one little dot there, but maybe with the right ink. I haven't really tried that many inks in this one. Maybe with the pale blue dot or the Oxford Blue, it might work a little better. But pale blue dot is what I have in the 78G, if you didn't see that video. And Herbon, it has a French name, but it translates wild ivy. It's one of the green colors. And I think the wild ivy, is a little more prone to bleeding through paper, I believe. So, yeah, with the right ink, this is a drier writing pen also. So that would work. So pens that write dry but are still smooth are a good candidate. With the right ink, are a good candidate for this notebook, and I think I'm going to be using this more. I'm getting near the end of using my Rhodia meeting book, and I think I'm going to like this better than the meeting book just because you can reposition the pages. But yeah, these little notebooks come in a variety of sizes. They come in a pocket size, which is about, half this. This is a A5 size. They come in letter size and what's the other one? Letter size and A4. They're just lots of options. It's vegan leather. It's not real leather. So I've always loved that little notebook and just didn't find the right pen to use with it, but I'm really satisfied with this setup right now. Alright, if you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel.